Well, good evening, everyone. Meteorologist Michael Wilhite here with Southern Indiana weather, bringing you the latest long-range update. Wow, what a week we had last week. Nothing at all like that this week. No snowstorms or anything to worry about. A few showers maybe tonight, but those are looking pretty sparse as it is right now. No major threats. That might change as we head down into the pipe. There is a storm that I'm eyeing that I'll show you, but quiet weather and a nice little January thaw on the way here, coming up, at least in the short term. Got some snow going on up to our north. That is not going to affect us at all. In fact, you can see very little going on as I zoom in here a little bit, and you can see maybe some showers just starting to break out into the area. But boy, not a strong chance of some showers at all here going on. Temperature still pretty mild around the area. Here at 7:30 in the evening Eastern time, we're still at 46 around the Huntingburg Airport, 50 there in Evansville, even 45 up in Indianapolis, 51 over in Louisville. So still pretty mild around the area, and that's a big change compared to the single digits and teens that we saw last week at points and times. Nice little refreshing change. Now, as the cold front rolls through tonight, we're going to be a little bit more cool tomorrow than what we were today. We made it up high temperatures near the 50-degree mark for some of us around the area, mid 40s for most of us. And tomorrow's going to be a different story. We're going to struggle to make it to the mid to upper 30s behind this cold front. Little reinforcing shot of cold air, but we will rebound quickly again. In fact, 50s return by the weekend from the way things look, so that's going to be a nice little change of pace. Let me show you what's going on here in the short term. This is future radar, and this is kind of overestimating it right now. This is where it's supposed to be at 7 o'clock at night. You see it's got a lot of activity going over on here by Cincinnati, but ignore that. That's not happening at all. You see nothing much going on out here to our west, but as you put the radar here into motion, what you see is some showers do start to break out across the area. So if anything, I would expect a thin line of some showers to come with the approach of the cold front. Not everybody's going to get wet tonight. Maybe a 30-40% chance of rain at best. Then once that pulls through, we're going to be okay, and we should be pretty much precipitation clear. Get a reinforcing shot of cold air, as I said, coming in with this. Might see a few flurries tomorrow, but really nothing to get excited about. Now, let's talk then about what we can expect for our next weather maker. It's going to be a pretty quiet week around here. And after two snowstorms this past week, we could use a little bit of quiet weather. I'm certainly, this meteorologist is happy about having some quiet weather. Here's what we got going on there. That rolls through tonight. We might even see just some hints you can see of some light snow showers on the back side of the system tomorrow. But again, maybe some flurries, nothing more really for us. This moves out of the way. High pressure comes in. We got some partly sunny days coming our way. Temperatures on a slow warming trend, especially for the weekend. Another little front moves through on Thursday, but then once that's out of the way, you notice some systems roll up to our north. The next big system starts to really roll in here right around Groundhog Day. Indications here by Monday of next week that we got some showers, according here to the GFS, breaking around out in the area. Then you got this big low out to our west, and this is going to be a what could be a troublemaker for us and another forecasting nightmare. Let me show you that here in a second. Here this moves in. In fact, if this is right, the GFS would warm us up pretty significantly. Might even have some thunderstorms breaking out. Severe weather? Well, I wouldn't write it off the table. It's a little too far out to really say whether we could have severe weather with it, but it's a pretty deep low, and it's in a nice position for us if we could get some decent warmth with it. On the back side of the system, you've got a nice little snow going on. The GFS then moves that through and crashes our temperatures pretty quickly, breaking out some snow showers around the area with it. Now, that, of course, is a far cry, by the way, from what the Canadian is showing. The Canadian could not have a possibly different solution here. Let me back this up just a little bit. First off, next Monday, you start to come and you see some light showers breaking out across the area here. Again, similar to that, but there's that bigger low coming out to our west. It's not as strong as a low, though, and you notice here we are looking at only 1,009 millibars, whereas the GFS at this time had it already deepened down to about a 991 low. Well, that's pretty significant difference. Here's what this means. A deepening low like this is going to want to go poleward. In other words, it's going to want to pull itself up towards the poles. A weaker low has a chance to just sort of stay in a straight line and go sort of cross with the zone of flow. That's exactly what this does. It stays a pretty weak low on this, and so the Canadian, as far out as it can see, wants to track it as a southern system. Well, what's the difference for that? What's the implications? The implications are huge. A bigger system like this could really pump up moisture and warmth into the area, could give us a threat for some severe weather before our temperatures crash behind it. But a southern low like this would put us on the edge where we could potentially see snow out of it. So do you want the chance of thunderstorms or do you want the chance of snow? Pick your poison. Either way, it looks like a storm system is going to roll through, but reality is this far out, we just don't have any clue what it's going to be. For what it's worth, the Euro idea is more on board with the GFS at this point and indicating what could be a pretty sizable warm up for us before it crashes our temperatures pretty drastically. It doesn't really lead to much snow on the backside of the system for us, maybe some flurries, but the moisture exits really before the cold air can crash in. But it is on the side more of the GFS, of more of a northern solution with it. But honestly, none of the models have been doing just fantastic lately, so it's anybody's guess at this point. It's an idea right now. We're just going to look at that and say, okay, around Groundhog Day, that's a storm that we're going to monitor for some potential mischief of some sort around here. We'll keep you up to date, but right now, I wouldn't get too excited about anything just yet. Let's talk about the rest of the period here. Let's talk about at least through mid-February or so, where we're going to go with this. Let's talk about our indices. Right now, the January thaw is going to go on. You've got an Arctic oscillation that is going in the positive direction. What's going to happen actually is the polar vortex is going to start to strengthen and start to get more tighter wound and retreat sort of back up to the North Pole where it belongs. Stay up there for a while. It's been wobbling. It's been allowing some colder air to come down. There's hints that it will allow that again, but it's going to be up to the pole for a little while here. That'll take the cold air with it. Hints, though, that the Arctic oscillation does go negative. We could have another Arctic air intrusion coming here towards the beginning of February or so here, and right around or after the time that you see Groundhog Day. North Atlantic oscillation also following with that, trending in a positive direction. It's already positive. It's going to go even stronger positive. That indicates no blocking pattern in the North Atlantic. Storms can move pretty fast, get out of the way. P&A staying pretty well in a positive pattern. No, here's one thing I do want you to notice here. All right, folks, remember what it was that I said last time. Last time, basically, what I said is whenever you have this transition period, that's whenever you can get some pretty big storms, going transition from sharply negative to sharply positive in a hurry. And so you saw the storm that we just had around the 22nd here or on Friday, and what was it here, going sharply negative to sharply positive here in a pretty quick hurry here. And I forecasted that over a week before that storm happened. I gave you guys a heads up in one of my videos about it, and look what's going on here again. So this is another instance where you're going to go from strongly positive to strongly trending in a strongly negative phase here in a hurry. And well, what's this? The Groundhog Day falls right there, February the 2nd. And that is, if we're going to take a look and be honest about it, that's right in this zone of transition for things. That's something we'll keep an eye on. It fits the pattern to have a pretty big storm and what could be a pretty hefty snowmaker for someone. I'm not saying that there's going to be a snowmaker for us here in Kentuckiana, but it is certainly possible. All right, we'll keep an eye on it. Again, I've showed you the modeling. They're all over the place. Expect it to be all over the place right now. We'll do our best to kind of figure it out, but over the coming days we should start to dial in on more of a solution. But I would not be surprised to see something significant happen in that time, whether that is a severe weather for some of us, whether that is a pretty big rainmaker, whether that's a snowstorm for us. We don't really know at this point. It's more than a week out at this point anyway, so we'll keep an eye on it, but I suspect something big could happen. Fits the pattern of the transition here in that. All right, let's finish off the video with this here. Here's what the GFS ensembles go for temperature-wise. That illustrates that warm up for us, I think, pretty well. Pretty nice today. Reinforcing shot of cold air tomorrow, though. This is not going to happen. GFS wants to take it to 46 tomorrow. We're not going to make it to maybe above 37 in the area. That's just absolutely ridiculous. Another reinforcing shot of cold air, but temperatures on a nice warmer trend. And then here by the time you get to the weekend, look at this. I got a few days here potentially in the 50s returning for us according to the modeling before we take another crash down here behind the system. Here's Groundhog Day right here, and you see the cold air that comes in behind that. So again, the modeling's really confused on this, and they're going to be confused for the next few days about it. It'll probably be closer to Thursday or Friday before we start to have some good answers on what's going to happen next week. So I'll wait to do another video. Until then, not really a whole lot of point in it. It's a pretty quiet week anyway, but it's something we'll keep an eye on. Keep it tuned to the Facebook page for more information. We'll let you know what's going on with that. All right, folks, here's the forecast. Go to southernindianaweather.com. Click on 10-day forecast there, sponsored by the Smile Center. Few flurries, maybe tomorrow. Breezy, though. Much colder, 37 your high. By the time you go, though, to Wednesday, still 35. It's kind of on the chilly side. The lows really aren't that bad. Low to mid 20s. Well, that's a lot better than the single digits and teens that we've been seeing recently. Warming trend begins 42 Thursday, 44 on Friday. Hey, I'm liking that. 54 for Saturday into partly sunny skies. Get out the grills again. This is going to be a nice day. Showers start to move into the forecast, though, next week, Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. I'm going with mid 50s for the highs right now. I'm not really buying that Canadian southern solution yet. I'm thinking that the GFS Euro idea of the low bringing us some warmer weather may be the way to go with this. We'll have to see at this point. We'll go with mid 50s for now, and we'll adjust it as time goes on for later then. But then we get a reinforcing shot of cold air, and it comes down from there. Now, what about February then? Well, folks, it's going to be one of these tough situations. We got a little bit of a January thaw going on, but I do see some colder weather coming for February. Whenever you see Arctic oscillations like this going into the negative again, I do think that what we saw, these strongly negative totals out here, I do think that we could see the indices as we go on go out to a strongly negative fashion again. In fact, there's some of the latest long-range data that I don't have pulled up here, but some of the long-range data is suggesting that it goes sharply negative like that again. What could that lead? That could lead to some pretty cold air coming in February. So overall, I think February is going to be a colder than normal month as we head into it. Got a little warming trend here to end January, but it's going to go downward from there. I do think we're going to be colder than normal to go through a lot of the month of February. Big questions though right now on how much precipitation we see in February. Right now we got a couple of systems on the maps that we can sort of track. Beyond that though, here's the big thing. Whenever you get those strong negative numbers in the Arctic oscillation, the potential there is to really suppress the systems. By the way, look at what we just saw with this big snowstorm. Yeah, it was an epic snowstorm for DC. It was not epic around here. Yeah, Evansville got about 5 inches, and there was about 5 inches or so in Spencer County. You go up to the north, very far of that, Jasper got less than an inch. Huntingburg, where I'm at here at the Southern Indiana Weather Office, we get about an inch. New Albany didn't really get that much either. And you go north of that, and you really didn't get anything. That's an example of the kind of storm that you get whenever you get these really negative, in the deep, deep negative Arctic oscillation numbers. We get that again, which I suspect we might see. It might suppress a storm track so far south that we don't have any snow possibilities out of it. It might just be dry cold for us, and that's a big fear. Not saying that's necessarily what's going to happen. That is a fear I'm warning you guys about. So snow lovers, I think the cold is going to come in February, but I got some big questions right now as far as the moisture is concerned. That's something that we're just going to have to work out over time. So that's the best I can do for you right now, folks. Hope that'll change. Hopefully for you snow lovers, we can get at least one good sized storm for you. A nice wet snow where we can build some snowmen with our kids and things like that out of the year. But nothing really in the next 10 days from the way things look right now. But of course, weather always changes, and we'll keep you up to date. Folks, that's it. I'm meteorologist Michael Wilhite for Southern Indiana Weather. Have a great day. Thanks for watching this latest long-range update. We'll see you later on in the week for the next one of these videos.